Okay, Glòria, welcome.
Thank you. So thank you, Oliver, for your presentation. And after his perfect accent, let's start with my broken English. I hope you will be able to follow me. And well, my role here today is present you the clinical case, the farm which the story starts. And this is our farm. It's a typical farm with side 1 and side 2. You see that there is the farrowing unit, the breeding station, and then we have the nursery and a room for the GDU. So the farm started with 200 sows, and slowly it increased until 800 sows. At the beginning, they start with SPF gills, so the farm was negative for PRRS. They vaccinate the sows 3 times per year, and the veterinarian from the farm told us that the farm is stable, and following the double ASB classification, it's in the group of 2BX. Why we know that this farm is in this category, you probably, all of you know this category, it's because I haven't mentioned before, but this farm runs in 3 weekly farrowing the sows. So in each batch, every 3 weeks, we take samples from the tongue tips and also serum samples from the piglets that are going to be weaned. And we've been reaching the negativity for more than 90 days, so we can say that this farm is in this group. So what happens, and this is something that probably rings you a bell, in Spain there's a period of time with a high pork demand, so the producer, the farmer, decides to increase the size of the farm, and he decides to buy gills from an unknown source, and moreover, the quarantine period for these gills was only 2 to 3 weeks, and they introduced the gills into the sow farm without testing them. So, and at the same time, they were working to increase the size. So workers were there building a new building. So everything is ready for having changes. So my question here for all of you is, in your real situation, in your daily practice, how long is usually the quarantine plus isolation, so the time that the gills are not in contact with the sow farm? Option A, you see less than 4 weeks, B, between 4 and 8 weeks, C, between 8 and 12 weeks, and finally D, more than 12 weeks. So if you can answer the question, please. Yeah.
Is the gills being vaccinated in the quarantine?
Yes. We wait a few more seconds. Oliver, have you answered? No? So yeah, we still have some of them. Yeah, probably we can close and see the results. Yeah, so for the vast majority of you, option B, it's the most common. It's 32% of people answer between 4 and 8 weeks. It's just interesting to know. So let's continue. Here you can see the results from the tongue tips. You see that early in 2023, we had an outbreak. We detect positivity in the tongue tips, and then we quickly recover negativity. You can see with the green points that the tongue tips are negative. But early in 2024, we detect again positivity in the tongue tip sample. And not only that, before detecting the positivity in tongue tips, we also observed some clinical signs in the sows. we detect an increase in the number of abortions per week. And we also we detect what we normally observe in a PRRS clinical outbreak. We detect poor reproduction performance. We detect an increase, as we have seen, in the number of abortions. We detect problem with the milk yield in the sows. And also in the nursery, we detect an increase of higher mortality in the piglets in situ, a decrease in the average daily gain, and also some clinical signs that can correlate with respiratory problems. Here you can see some photos of the sows. We detect an increase in sow mortality, especially in gills, fever, cyanosis, and lung lesions that can correspond to interstitial pneumonia. And here you can see some photos from abortions that took in the third part of gestation, late in gestation. So we visit the farm, we take samples, and we detect PRRS1 in tongue tips. So we are convinced that we need to have the sequence of these positivity samples. We try to convince the farmer, but I mean, he doesn't want to spend money in sequencing these samples, but we are convinced that it's needed. So we have a conversation with our colleague, Jordi Baliellas, which I will invite you to be here with me on the floor. Welcome, Jordi. And we try to convince the farmer to sequence. The floor is yours.
Glòria, for introducing me. It's a pleasure to be here. And today, I'm going to try to convince you that, like Glòria tried to do with the farmer, that PRRS sequencing is a good tool to obtain benefits, to obtain information, to better manage the outbreak. And talking about benefits, I am going to start with a question for the audience. You have to answer this question. Which of the following are benefits to sequence this PRRS virus isolate? You have to choose only one option. The seven different answers are: helps to predict peak performance, the first one; helps investigate source of the virus into the farm; helps to investigate root cause of future PRRS clinical signs; helps identify multiple strains, which helps to predict severity; helps determine which MLV vaccine is the best; all of the above; or finally, A, B, C, D, but not E. You can start to select the answer. Yes? Are you sure with the answer? I think it's a difficult question, but only one option. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Are you ready to continue? And the answer is at the end of the presentation. So that's the question. Why sequence? If we sequence, we can compare, for example, with the previous sequences from the same farm to answer this question, is new or not. We also can compare with sequences from other farms in some available database, regional or national, as to try to perform outbreak investigations, how the virus was introduced into this farm. We also can to find some connections between farms who share the same sequence to try to audit the biosecurity. Is a way to audit the biosecurity into the farm, because sometimes we have a new virus introduction caused by a biosecurity failure. And I think that it's a cheap and useful tool to obtain information to better understand how the virus was introduced in the farm. In this clinical case, Glòria convinced the farmer to sequence, and when we obtain the sequence, we put in this similarity table comparing with the previous sequences. We can see that the similarity was low with the previous sequences, so we determined that it was a new virus on the farm. We also place this new virus in a phylogenetic tree with the reference sequences in Spain field reference sequences and also vaccine sequences. And we can see that these 3 sequences from the same isolation was close to Rosalia strain. So this farm was infected by Rosalia strain, a high virulent strain. We also compare with a national database to try to find other farms with the same sequence, and we find this list of farms with the same Rosalia variant. Much of them were in the same area where the farm was located. After this information, Glòria decided to audit the biosecurity to try to find some failures and to implement in the future new measures to try to reduce the risk to new viruses introductions in the future. But sometimes we need more information. If we want to perform a deeper analysis, we can use the whole genome sequence. In this case, we only sequence DOR5. But in some scenarios, for example, when we want to detect recombination events or when to typify the viral diversity in the farm, we can use whole genome sequencing. Or for example, if we want to quantify how many strains or different strains or variants are circulating in a farm. This is another option. Sometimes we stop with information that gives the DOR5 sequence, but sometimes we need to do a deeper analysis. And that's all. And now the results of the first question. And the winner is Clayton. No. You have answered that B or F. B helps to investigate source of the virus. Okay, I have presented the same in one of my previous slides. But it doesn't help to identify the MLV vaccine. But with sequencing, we can identify multiple strains. When, for example, when we perform whole genome sequencing, also we can, the A option, I can read the answer. Helps to predict peak performance. If we can typify this sequence as a virulent strain, we can predict the production losses, so we can predict the peak performance. The correct is the G option. A, B, C, D are correct, but E, no. Thank you very much.